been a life-changing experience.
This experience was greater than anything that I could have ever imagined.
This whole course is designed around wildlife, and the people that do this course are wildlife managers, but also people that are studying in the direction of veterinary, be veterinary technicians, veterinary nurses, and veterinarians. And when you want to expose them to the wildlife situation in Africa, and in southern Africa particularly, what you want to do is show them what's happening in the reserves, in private reserves, the diseases. But when you're in the rural areas where the wildlife are, you inevitably also come in contact with the local rural people.
We started off the trip in Pretoria. We spent about 4 days working with CLAW in Soweto, which is an acronym for the Southwest Township. We met Clara, who is the manager of the program, and we actually spent 2 days just travelling around to 3 different slums and provided free healthcare for the people and their pets. And for me, that was actually quite hard to see the conditions that some of the people lived in and the way that their pets lived as well. But at the same time, I was quite surprised to see the condition of some of the animals. Yes, they did have ticks, yes, they did have some health problems, but overall they had a good body condition score, and you could tell that their owners really genuinely did care for them. They fed them well, which was really nice to see.
We then go out to a reserve which is quite remote, and in this reserve the students get exposed to all the basic stuff concerning wildlife.
We went on to Mbombala, where we spent another 4 nights. We met our guides Nick and Kathy, who were absolutely amazing people.
In Mbombala I will always remember because it was the first time that we saw an African animal, African wildlife. We saw some tracks.
Any guesses as to what made these tracks?
And they said, look there in the distance. And I remember just being absolutely blown away by seeing rhinos. They were white rhinos. There were about 5 or 6 of them with a little baby as well. And they were just standing there quietly, grazing. And it was, as I said before, the first experience with African wildlife, and it was just amazing.
So all the basic ecological things that is required is done in that remote Mbombala wilderness camp.
We went crocodile catching with a PhD student, which for me was probably one of the highlights of Mbombala, because it's something that I've always sort of watched or heard about, and just to actually be there where the action was happening was really great.
You know, you jump in your boats, you wait until it starts to get dark, and you use a flashlight, and the flashlight actually reflects the light from their eyes, and that's how you find them at night. So it is quite hard to find them, and we were searching for ages, and there was one that they found that it actually, until we were on top of the crocodile, I had no idea that it was there.
You can see it's quite lively, quite good condition as well.
Then our next stop is Kruger National Park, which is the flagship national park of this country. And we go there because it is a well-researched park, and it's got unique problems as well. We visit various researchers, we visit rangers.
Stephen's one of the rangers at Shokwan in Kruger National Park, and he basically just showed us what the rangers actually do. He showed us about a computer program that they use, and how they use it to track all the different animals and plants, and how the species are all going within the Kruger National Park. And his area is quite a large one. It extends from the eastern border to the western border of the park.
We were fortunate enough to have a chance to go up in his microlight, which is sort of his mode of transport for monitoring his area.
After Kruger Park, the course then moves on to a next phase, and that is the more intense management. And there's a fairly large wildlife rehabilitation center, and at this center there's various kinds of animals that for some reason ended up being in this wildlife rehab center, be it orphaned or injured or have to be relocated.
It made me sad to see the animals in captivity, knowing that a lot of them will never be able to be reintroduced back into the wild. So that was a little bit hard, but at the same time, you got to keep it into perspective and know that what he is doing is really good through all the breeding programs.
The next part of the course was a visit to a rehab center specializing in reptiles. This is the Kamai Reptile Center, which is also close to Kruger Park. A very well-run reptile center, and some of our old or ex wildlife management students are also working there full-time.
The highlight there for me probably was seeing the feeding of the black mambas.
They also get exposed to necropsy, if some animal has died, why has it died, and they also practically dissect some of the snakes that has come in, road kills it, and things like that. The next stage of this course is dealing really hands-on game capture. And this is important because the wildlife veterinarians, an important part of their work is to capture game either for reselling or moving, because there's a huge private sector wildlife industry in this country.
I think this part of the trip for me was really the most enjoyable because it was the most hands-on.
We were able to catch and capture wildebeest, and we also followed him to capture hyena. When we were there at the hyena capture, we were able to see firsthand how you can plan everything as much as you like, but it never, or it almost never turns out the way you like it.
They get taught how to handle the capture gun, the dart gun, how to fill the drugs in the darts. The entire course is done with them over a period of 2 to 3 days, and then they go out on the field and actually do handling the gun, the capture gun, shooting at targets, and also shooting at moving targets from a helicopter. So once they've done this 5 days of game capture course, which is an essential part of in the training of a wildlife veterinarian, I think they are basically equipped to be able to do such a function. On the conclusion of the wildlife capture course, the whole group then moves across to a more central part of the country, and we're now in the Bella Bella district at a place called Sondela, which is a private game reserve. And there's 2 functions that happen here. The students do an intense animal rehab course, but focusing particularly on the feeding of young orphan wildlife, the nutrition and how to handle young orphan wildlife. Then the final stage is writing an essay, because they've been doing a course and they get credits from the University of Pretoria for this course. And then it's the graduation ceremony, which takes place right here in the bush next to a good-sized bonfire.